Well, hello everyone. I was watching. I recently I caught a show by where Sandra Shamoun was on Al Fadadi's show talking about this new kind of connection that he's seen between Allah of the Quran and this pre-Islamic deity, hubal, and so I thought it was pretty interesting. And I'm not sure if really really that interesting to my viewers here, but I just thought to share, with you um, share with you what I found here. I'm not super studied on it, but I looked it up, and I found I did find articles where they had the same accounts. Um, as Sam Shamoon wrote an article compiling the history of different accounts um, that tag the pre-Islamic worship that went on at the Kaaba. Um, so, so you see here. Let's get into it. Excuse me the kind of mumbling here. Kind of, I guess I'm kind of tired at this moment, but we'll push through this, and I want to um, show you this and share with you and we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Does the Kaaba have a pagan origin, or does it predate the Muhammad and stuff like that? Um, so I don't know. I don't know about the setting here. I thought there was another setting where I didn't have all this mess right here, but that bothers me. But um, here's Sam Schmoon's article um, that I've seen, but I did. I will link this in the description here. Um, it I found an article that compiles the other accounts, and it has draws from the same sources as he did, like this one book right here, Ibn al Khalib. I think that's how, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Book of Idols. Um, actually, it does state some facts of these articles. Um, so I'll link that in the description. But um, I think that it covers the same material. I think, hopefully here, but yeah, the Kaaba. I don't know, for some reason. According to Muslims here, the Kaaba was rebuilt by Abraham, and you know, so I mean, you got different stories where um, it was a house rebuilt by Abraham or something, and Muhammad came along. It was littered by pagan idols and stuff. And Muhammad came and broke went on a you know to clear house. He cleared house. He broke down all the pagan stuff and through some this one battle that that you hear in the hadith, in the one of the hadith, that there was different Kaabas here, but he went and reclaimed this one that is Mecca and rededicated it to Allah and Abraham. But there's different stories that he came in and broke down all the idols. There's a story where, you know, he allegedly did that, but the hubal idol was still in there along with other things, and he just um, claimed that this was Allah, um, or that it was still, or something like that. But we'll get through this here. But it's weird here. If this was built, reclaimed, or was didn't predate Islam, why is there other Kaabas? There's this Kaaba, the Zoroaster Kaaba in Iran, by the Zoroastrian um, cult, pagan cult. So you got that for some reason. It resembles um, the Kaaba in Mecca. It, uncovered. It's just a brick building. It just means um, a house, a cube. It has windows and these designs right here. So you got the designs and stuff. But this, for some reason, I've learned this. What you see, these designs right here, that's just a cloth. What's underneath here is just a brick building. And you got windows. You got windows here, just like the other Kaaba. And this has been destroyed. You see, it kind of looks like modern bricks here. It's been destroyed and rebuilt over the times, and stuff like that. Um, so you got that Kaaba. There was another Kaaba in Yemen that was destroyed. Um, Destroyed in that conquest of clearing the pagan idols away from the area. Um, this Colossa or something, but it's just the Kaaba in Yemen. So there's probably a few other Kaabas, but there's only really the one I found here is the only one that's really that survived. Um, and the only other one that I um, really found, I really heard of, that you could point to. So you got the actually it was a you know the Kaaba predates Islam there. So and it was had a 360 idols from the pagan Babylonian, uh, basically Baal worship. Um, it was a center of Baal worship, and you got what is called a pre-Islamic deity, which is fertility god. But you got which is called hubal or hubal, baal, and you can say what I was trying to say. Hubal is just Baal, and Hu means spirit, and Baal means master. So the master spirit, and really Allah. Um, Yahoo means spirit or God. Baal means master, master of gods. Allah is just the God. Literally means Al Ilah, Al Ilah, the deity or the God. So you got hubal, some forms of hubal, Al Ilah, the supreme deity. Um, so if this was Hebrew, it would be Ha or the Lord. Ha Baal, Baal, Baal. So it would be Haba apostrophe Al. So it's basically Baal worship. And there's in this account that you see here um, that we'll get into that Muhammad's grandfather was a tribe of what is called Nabateans, and they basically just built pagans, Baal worshippers, and he took little Muhammad when he was before everyone died. His grandfather died, and he took him down to the Kaaba in Mecca, which was dedicated to Hubal, uh, Baal, and they. So there's a count of that, and that's just strange. Why would he take him down to um, the Kaaba? And that was um, who Baal was worshipped there. Um, but these Nubian tribes was basically one of those pagan tribes, Baal worship, Babylonian gods, um, which was worship at Petra, and had these pagan deities. And I forgot who Baal is the moon deity, a moon deity. Um, Also, this was mentioned in those records, plus in as false as the idol, which is Al Uzza or Oz, and you got Al Lot, the goddess, which is has a part of the satanic verses that first these deities was commended, but then it says you shall not worship other than Allah. These are why you're worshiping these pagan deities, something like that. But it's just funny that his grandfather was a Nabataean, and they worship these pagan deities. You know, um, Pre-Islamic Quraysh is a tribe, the group Quraysh tribe, and these were legitimate deities. Um, Once delivered, but Muhammad says, "Well, I did not know that this was, you know, an evil angel and these were bad. I received bad revelation or something like that. Um, but it was what is called the Satanic Verses. It's record of missing Quran verses or alluded to Quran verses that there is a record of that Muhammad was deceived by the Satan or an evil angel and gave revelation, give bad revelation. So the satanic verses are two lines in the Quran that, according to some versions of Muslim history, Muhammad spoke under the direction of Satan rather than Allah. And that's funny. There's records. Well, why is your prophet? Why is that? Why is a prophet um, getting revelation and spoke revelation and did not know and was deceived by Satan or Shaitan um, to give revelation? If he's a prophet gave bad revelation, that's really weird there. Uh, some early Muslim sources record that Muslim Muhammad admitted that Surah chapter 53, verses 21 to 22 of the Quran, as they originally read, were a result of a satanic trick that he thought was genuine revelation from Allah. If this tradition is true, Muhammad's position as a true prophet would be in dispute because he had been deceived by Satan or Shaitan. And the background behind the satanic verses is that early on the number of Muhammad's followers was growing slowly, and he was in conflict with Arabs. In order to ease the conflict, he received the following revelation. So have you considered Allah and Al-Uzza and Manat, or Manah, the third goddess, the other one, Allah, Alat, Al-Uzza, and Manah, were three pagan deities, pagan Arab deities. Following Surah 53:20, the devil interjected his own words into Muhammad's tongue, and the result was Surah 53:21 to 22, the satanic version. These are exalted cranes, intermediaries, whose intercession is to be hoped for. According to these verses, three pagan deities are recognized to be legitimate, and Muhammad can seek their intercession on his behalf. By Muhammad recognizing these Arab deities, he was able to ease tensions with Arabs. Later, he explained what looked like a lapse in polytheism by saying that Satan had tricked him. He also said that the angel Gabriel came to him and told him that occasionally Satan fools even true prophets. At the time, this explained how an error was introduced into Quran. Later, that admission was seen to be damaging. Later, this admission was seen to be damaging to Muhammad's character, so the verses were changed altogether, and the story of his confession was squelched. This is documented in early Muslim sources, still available today, although Muslim apologists also point out there are earlier biographies of Muhammad that do not record his story. The following passage is from one early source, 915 AD, that does record it. When the pagan Quraysh heard this, they rejoiced and were happy and delighted at the way in which he spoke of their gods, and they listened to him. While the Muslims having complete trust in their prophet and in respect of the messages which he brought from God, did not suspect him of error, illusion, or mistake. When he came to the prostration, having completed the surah, he prostrated himself, and the Muslims did likewise, following their prophet, trusting in the message which he had brought and following his example. Those polytheists of the Quraysh and others who were in the mosque likewise prostrated themselves because of the reference to their gods which they had heard, so that there was no one in the mosque, believer or unbeliever, who did not prostrate himself. The one exception was Al Al Walid bin Mushagara Makura, I don't know, who was a very old man who could not prostrate himself. But he took a handful of soil from the valley in his hand and bowed over that. Then they all dispersed from the mosque. Quraysh left delighted by the motion of their gods, which they have heard, saying, Muhammad has mentioned our gods in the most favorable way possible, stating in the citation that they were flying cranes, and their session is received with approval. The history of Al-Tabri, Volume 6, Muhammad at Mecca, translated by W. Montgomery, Watt, and M.V. McDonald, State University of New York, Press, 1988, pages 108 to 109. So, yeah. So you got to think verses that value these pagan deities, early pagan deities that was worshipped, along with hubal, hu baal, baal. So you got this article here that goes through different sources. Um, Although there's a hadith that I guess there was a battle. What is it called? But it was a battle going across the lands, getting rid of the pagan idols and stuff like that. And it's in a hadith that it specifically states about Hubal that you know that it's a false deity, and you shall praise Allah. So, but you got Hubal, this the Hu, spirit, Lord of the spirits, and if you put that in Hebrew, you got Ha, Habal, the master, or Baal worship. Baal. So, pardon me for just muttering here, rambling here, and trying to. I thought it was really interesting that goes into there's a pre-Islamic deity that was worshipped at the Kaaba, called Hubal, and the stories that that Allah was worshipped alongside Hubal, and there's certain accounts that that they were worshiping Hubal or something, or worshiping Allah, but bowing down to a hubal um, idol, or at the same time, or something. They worship alongside, or something like that. Or that the idol was told that this was a law, that hubal was kind of glossed over, and Allah came to be known for that idol, and for the Kaaba in Mecca, stuff like that. I don't know. Um, let's go just read this, because I'm just want to say I'm not an expert in this. I've read certain articles that repeat Sam Shamoun's article. So this is article written by Sam Shamoun, or compiled by Sam Shamoun, and so we'll just read this. The religion of Islam, the reemergence of Baal worship. This post, I'm going to provide the evidence that Islam is nothing more than the religion of Baal under the guise of Abrahamic ethical monotheism. Hubal, Mecca's chief deity. There is a solid evidence connecting the pre-Islamic Allah, or Allah, you know, because Allah is, I mean, you got Christians that say in Arabic it's just a generic word for God, as in Hebrew Elohim, sort of a, and it's not the same thing, because it's not the name. They call Allah the name of God, which the Hebrews have a covenantal name that is not Elohim. You know, you know, it's the I am that I am, which what it would be in Hebrew, but it's Al the God, literally the God, ALILLAH. It would be ALILLA, the God, Allah. So the solid evidence connecting the pre-Islamic Allah with the moon, according to the scholarly sources, the chief god worshipped at Mecca was Hubal, whom many authorities claim was the moon god. Hubal, chief god, was of the Kaaba, a marital and ocular deity, a moon god. Hubal, Hubal, an idol, the god of the moon, centuries before Islam. Amir ibn Louis, chief of the tribe of Juram, who dwelt in Mecca before the coming of the Quraysh tribe. Just by the way, I'm not pronouncing any of these names correctly. Don't go by my pronunciation. Brought the idol to the city from Syria. It was set up in the Kaaba and became the principal idol of the pagan Meccans. The pagan Meccans. The ritual casting of lots, divining arrows, was formed of it. So I'm not going to do much interpreting, but this kind of struck me. If you look in the Quranic and Hadith, or what have you, there's other Muslim sources about the divining arrows that was performed as a ritual in the Kaaba, that they would cast lots, or I don't know, do something, would point like to spin over the bottle, It would say yes, no, like I don't know, I can't remember. It'll probably be stated here coming up, but it's divining arrows, and that's divination was condemned in the Hebrew Bible here. But they would do something like spin the bottle, and the arrow would stick in or point to um, the answer. So these divining arrows is common in these. Just remember, look for that in these accounts. The ritual casting of lots, divining arrows performed in front of it. Hubal was pulled down and used as a doorstep when the Prophet conquered Mecca and purified the Kaaba. Of the 360 idols set up in the Kaaba, the most important was Hubal, the god of the moon. Upon the conquest of Mecca, the Prophet cut open some of these idols with a sword, and black smoke said to have issued forth from them, a sign of the um, psychic psychic influences which had made these idols their dwelling place. The prophet turned the idol of Hubal into a doorstep. Al Uzza, one of the more important idols of the pagan Arabs, closely associated with Al Lat and Al Manat. All three was considered to be females. It's known that the human sacrifice. It is known that human sacrifices have been made to them on occasion. The other principal idol of the Meccans was Hubal, god of the moon. So Al Uzza, the idol, Al Lat, the goddess, Al Manat. Hubal, a pre-Islamic deity represented by an idol in Kaaba that was destroyed by Muhammad when he conquered Mecca in 630, patron of Quraysh, leading tribe of Mecca. The Syrian literature presents Mecca's call as a pagan one to the god Hubal, and depicts the Arabian religious environment in which Muhammad grew up as overwhelmingly pagan. As over Grew up as overwhelmingly pagan, the final vestiges of the ancient Near Eastern religion tradition. Um, let's see. Among many deities, the Arabs worshipped in and around the Kaaba were the god Hubal and the three goddesses Alat, Al Uzza, and Al Manah. Hubal was originally a moon god, perhaps also a rain god, as Hubal means vapor. Well, I don't know if it is or not, but Hubal means, I guess, from what I just read in these other articles, spirit, Lord of the spirits. Hu is spirits or gods. Baal is master of the gods. So it is Baal. So you got probably a antichrist type of the Lord of the gods. Lord, God of gods. A anti-type of the true title. Kuzaa, uh, Kuzaa thus shared the guilt of the Kurham. They are also to blame in other respects. Curtain of theirs on the way back from a journey to Syria had asked the Moabites to give him one of the idols. They give him Hubal, which he brought back to the sanctuary, setting it up within the Kaaba itself, and it became the chief idol of Mecca. The Quraysh were want to venerate her above all other idols. For this reason, Zayed ibn Emir ibn Zafil, who during the Jahiliyyah days had turned the worship of God, renounced that of Al-Uzza of the other idols, said, I renounce both Alat and Al-Uzza, for thus would be the brave and the robust do. No more do I worship Al-Uzza and her two daughters, or visit the two idols of the Benu Ghanim, nor do I journey to Hubal and adore it, although it was our Lord when I was young. The Quraysh had also several idols in and around the Kaaba. The greatest of these was Hubal. It was, as I was told, a gate in the form of a man, which the right hand was broken off. It came into possession of the Quraysh in this condition, and they therefore made for a hand of gold. So this idol was missing its hand, and they made a hand of gold for it. The first to set it up for worship was Kuza Ma ibn Murdareka ibn Ayaz ibn Madars. Consequently, it was used to be called Uza Maz Hubal. It stood inside the Kaaba. In front of it were 7 divination arrows. So you got another mention of divination arrows, or not another mention, but in this source. So all these are different sources here, like different encyclopedias and stuff like that. One of the sources, which is called the Book of Idols, the famous source. It stood inside the Kaaba. In front of it, there were 7 divination arrows. One of these arrows was written pure, and another constellation conceded alien. Whenever the lineage of the newborn was doubted, they would offer sacrifice to hubal and then shuffle the arrows and throw them. If the arrows showed the word pure, the child would be declared legitimate and the tribe would accept him. If, however, the arrow showed the words consummated alien, the child will be declared illegitimate, and the tribe would reject him. The third arrow was for divination concerning the dead, while the fourth was for divination concerning marriage. The purpose of 3 remaining arrows was not explained. Whenever they disagreed concerning something or purposed to embark upon a journey or undertake some project, they would proceed to it, Hubal, and shuffle the divination arrows before it. Whatever result they obtained, they would follow and do accordingly. I think there's a mention of the divination arrows somewhere in Muslim, either a hadith or Quran, but different sources. And that's just one thing. The divination is condemned in the Bible. It's one of the abominations. Whoever is all attained to it would fall and do accordingly. It was before Hubal that Abd al-Muttalib shuffled the divination arrows in order to find out which of the 10 children he would sacrifice in fulfillment of a vow he has sworn. The arrows pointed to his son Abdullah, the father of the Prophet. Hubal was also the same model which Abu Safan ibn Harb address when he emerged victorious out of the Battle of Uhud, saying, Hubal, be thou exalted, may thy religion triumph. To which the Prophet replied, Allah is more exalted and more majestic. So you got Hisham ibn al-Khalib, the Book of Idols, uh, Khatib al-Asnam. So this wasn't a hadith right here, like I was talking about. There's a where there's a conversation between someone that was um, worshiping Hubal or Hubal, Hubal, and Allah. Allah is more exalted and more highest. It says, Hubal be thou exalted is the high one, and he says, no, the Allah, we shall, uh, there's these, worshippers of pagans, and they had a conversation. Well, what shall we say to them? Well, Allah is more exalted, more highest than is the highest. I've heard some of this. Oh, I'm trying my best. I'm kind of tired right now. I wanted to get this out and share this, but yeah, I'm not sure how long this can really bore people. Um, how long? Let's just go through it, I guess. Um, Not only Hubal was considered the chief Meccan deity, he was also identified as the Lord and God of the Kaaba. Even the black stone of the Kaaba, which Muslims venerate till this day, was associated with Hubal. The great god of Mecca was Hubal, idol of the carnelian. So these are different, like encyclopedias, like I said. Um, just he this is Sam Shamoun's article compiling different like encyclopedias. Um, the Kaaba, which have initially been shrine to Hubal alone, housed several idols. The, the presiding deity was Hubal, the large carnelian kept inside of the temple. 360 other idols was arranged outside. Although originally under the aegis of the pagan god Hubal, the Meccan Haram, which centered around the well of Zamzam, may have been associated with the ancestral figures of um, Abraham and Ishmael. Ismail, Ismail, El. Oh, come on, I can't even pronounce. Okay, Abraham, and Ishmael, as the Arab traders shedding their parochial backgrounds sought to locate themselves within the border reference frame of Judeo-Christianity. The god of Mecca, Hubal, represented by a statue of Rick Carnelian, is thought to have been originally a totem of the Khuzaa rulers of Mecca before displacement by the Quraysh. Um, before I lose lose you guys, uh, where is it? I don't know. Before I lose everybody, the ending, something about when Muhammad was a little boy before his grandfather died. Um, it tells about, um, I guess, yeah, Ibn Kathir, that they went down to his temple. So there's evidence suggesting Allah was simply the name of the pagans, giving to Hubal the recognition of the fact that he was chief of all the gods. This means the idol of Hubal was actually a statue of Allah. Therefore, Allah was in fact of one of the idols worshipped there. In fact, the Islamic sources themselves provide indirect evidence which supports this view. For instance, Ibn Kathir shows the god of Muhammad's family was Hubal, that his grandfather even prayed to Allah by facing Hubal's idol. Ibn Ishaq Ibn Ishaq stated it is claimed that when Abd al-Muttalib received such opposition from Quraysh over the digging of Zamzam, he vowed that if 10 sons were born to him, who grew up and protected him, he would sacrifice one of them for the god at the Kaaba. Eventually, he had grown 10 sons. Eventually, he had 10 sons grown up, whom he knew he would give him protection. Their names were Al Harath, Al Zabir, Zubir, Dura Al Hajj, Darar. I don't know how to pronounce these. So Al Makawim, Abu Lahab, Al Abbas, Hamza, Abu Talib, and Abd Allah. He assembled them and told them of his vow and asked them to honor his pledge to God Almighty, and all glorious is He. They obeyed and asked him what he wanted them to do. He asked each of them to take an arrow, write his name on it, and return it to him. They did so and went with them inside the Kaaba to the site of their god Hubal, where there was a well in which offerings to the Kaaba would be placed. There, near the Hubal, even 7 arrows which they would use for divining a judgment over some matter of consequence, a question of blood money, kinship, or the like, would come to Hubal to seek a resolution, accepting whatever they were ordered to do or refrain from it. The book coming from the book The Life of the Prophet Muhammad, Al-Sayr al-Nabu. Yeah. The tradition goes on to say that the lot fell on Abd Allah, Muhammad's future father, meaning that he would have to be sacrificed. The Quraysh convinced Abd al-Talib to find a way of sparing his son, convinced him to consult a woman diviner. The text continues. So they left for Medina, where they found a diviner whose name was Sajjah, as Yunus b. Bakr reported from Ibn Ishaq, was at Kaibar. They rode off again and went to her and sought her advice. Abd al-Muttalib, telling her of the whole problem regarding him and his son. She told him, "Leave me today until the attendant spirit, that my attendant spirit comes and I can ask him." They left her, and Abd al-Muttalib prayed to God. Next day they went back to her, and she informed them that she had a message. How much is the blood money prescribed? She asked. 10 camels. They told her that being then the case. Then go back to your land and present your man as offering. Do the same with 10 camels. Then cast the arrow to decide between him and them. If your dividing arrows points to him, then add to the number of camels until your God is satisfied. If it points to the camels when sacrifice, then sacrifice them in his place. Then that way you will please your God and save your man. So they went back to Mecca, and when they had agreed to do as she had said. Ab, Abd Abd al Muttalib said said prayers to God. They offered up Abd Allah the 10 camels as sacrifice and cast the arrow. At that point, the men of Quraysh told Abd al Muttalib, who was standing near Hubal praying to God, "It's all over. Your God is pleased. O Abd al Muttalib or Malib." So it makes absolutely no sense for Muhammad's grandfather to stand before the statue of Hubal while praying to Allah if they were not one and the same, nor it does not make sense for the grandfather to make a vow to Allah, then go before the idol of Hubal in order to fulfill it. This basically proves the pre-Islamic pagans like Muhammad's grandfather took Allah as the name of the god Hubal, which was why they would pray to Allah by going before the idol Hubal. In their minds, the statue representing Hubal was no other than the idol depicting Allah. I don't know if Santa Shamoun is correct. His interpretation of these sources. I mean, if it's like blasphemy to depict their prophet Muhammad, like if anybody does that, it's a bad thing to do. It's probably punishable by death. Why would they have a depiction of Allah if they would not allow a depiction of Muhammad? It's a forbidden thing to do, to depict Muhammad. So I don't know, but I lost it. I don't know. This is the article I found. It's quite certain that the pagan Arabs in Mecca worshipped the moon god called Hubal at the Kaaba. Hubal was the lord of the Kaaba, being the highest ranked god of 360 gods of worship in the Kaaba. Now, here's the amazing thing: Allah was also worshipped as the lord of the Kaaba, yet Allah was not represented by an idol of physical nature to suggest that polytheist Arabs never create an idol to represent Allah is simply unreasonable and unquestionable. We suggest rather Hubal was who the pagan Arabs addressed their prayers to Allah through. In other words, Allah was Hubal, Muhammad came along and smashed the idol of hubal. Now the Arabs had no idol of Allah to pray through anymore, and hubal was forgotten. These are these are the stories of Surah, a pagan Meccan praying to Allah while standing beside the image of Hubal, Muhammad's Mecca. So, so you see, there's other articles. Let's see, this is all another article that I found the same kind of almost same um, sources stating such. So, does it have a pagan origin? Well, seems to predate Islam. Um, I pieced a possibility could be it was built by Abraham between Abraham and when Muhammad came, it was polluted by pagan idols. Then Muhammad came and smashed all their idols. Um, that's what there's battles trying to wipe out the pagans. Well, not wipe out the pagans, but reclaim these holy sites or what have you. Um, well, there's also that would be a likely possibility, because backed up with other probably Muslims would agree with that Muhammad came and reclaimed these holy sites. Um, but there's probably other by other Muslim commentators like Abdul Muttalib um, and Ibn Kathir, which is they respect two respected Islam Quranic Quranic or Islamic scholars, commentators, uh, one of the respected ones. Um, so I think it was to be kept credible. I mean, you got other, accounts saying to the contrary that yes, that it was filled with pagan idols, and some say, well, they were worshipped alongside Hubal and Allah, and or through. And you got the Muhammad's grandfather in this other city, Petra, I think it's a city. So, um, the best I can say that it's interesting. Um, not saying that because I'm not super studied, but saying it probably does. It predates it. Um, Muhammad. It definitely predates Muhammad. Not just um, well, the site. There's a the site is described that it's a brick building, a brick building, and within it's it houses a well for some reason. Some reason it was stated in there that there was a that in the Kaaba was a well, you know. But it's interesting. It seems like yes, um, they overlap. Really, a lot of these deities they seem to overlap, and it seems to me yes, it's the Babylonian worship of the area of Mesopotamian gods, you know, in the area. What seemed to me. I mean, so um, I don't know. I tried to read through this. It really interested me. It struck me. Besides me stammering and everything like that, there was connections between the two, that hubal and Allah, and because really they claim that they claim that that Islam is worshiping the God of Abraham, and they only call the God of Abraham the Arabic word for God, and that's not his name. It's a generic name. It would be a name. It would be a name, a general name, but it's not the covenantal proper name. Yes, it would probably be the equivalent in Arabic would be in Hebrew of Elohim or um, El or El Eloah, Ella, E Ellah. But um, the covenantal name, Moses says, what shall I say who sent me? Tell them that I am sent you. So he has a covenantal name, not just God. You know, the Hebrews wrote in the Tetragrammaton. They put the accent marks in a different way, which would only pronounce it would be not specifically said, but it would mean that you only pronounce the name the word um, Adonai instead of actually saying the name because it was so revered. They didn't want to blaspheme his name or take it in vain, you know. So he has a covenantal name, and it's not uh, um, Allah is just um, Arabic for God, but literally it says it's the God, Allah, or you know, A A L ILLAH. So but anyways, um I'm not sure if we really got to really covered what was interesting that really connected the two. It seems like there was an overlap. I mean, overlap of certain things, and it probably wouldn't do it justice because I'm stammering, and usually, yeah, I have a problem with stammering, but usually I do a lot better. But I'll link you these articles. You can look for them yourself, and but it seems that yes, I don't know that pagans moved in and put their idols in there, and at the least that there's about to wipe, you know, reclaim these sites. But it's just weird. There's other Kaabas, and really it looks Babylonian or pagan Babylonian, the Mesopotamian, you know, religion. And yes, it does appear that they overlapped. That it was a pagan site because there's why would you and why would you worship something some you know um, it would be an idol, they honor this stone thing. There's a stone imprinted in the house, And if just like for Jews and Christians, we're not supposed to make idols, and we're not to think that he's could be represented in any way. There's nothing that you compare him to, so it would be an idol according to the Hebrew Bible and to the New Testament. But yeah, it seems it is pagan in origin. It seems to overlap there, and it really there's a problem there. Why is there other Kaabas if this is the one that Abraham made? Which is there's a problem there. There's he's too far. That's Mecca is too far south. It's like thousands of miles where he was. I mean, reported birth is city of Ur, but um, it's just too far off. It's thousands of kilometers away. It does not line up. But I'll link you these articles here, and you can do them for yourself because I don't think it does it justice. But I thought it was interesting. I wanted to point it out. But so, is it pagan? Seems like it. Seems like it was had pagan worship done in it, and yeah, it doesn't make sense if it's you know Abrahamic. It doesn't make no sense. Why are you worshiping a stone? You know, but yeah, it seems like pagan origin. It's just weird that there's other ones out there too. So yeah, it seems like it does have uh, pagan Babylonian Mesopotamian god worship. It does. So yeah, I think it has some overlap, and at the very least, it had pagan worship in it, and Muhammad came to reclaim it. But it seems like really why we're it seems Babylonian to me, the kind of designs and everything like that. So yes, I think it's pagan. It has some pagan past to it for some reason. Looks like it. All right. Well, I'll link you the articles. You can look them over yourself, and we'll see you next time. And hopefully, this is interesting to you guys. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. And thank you for watching. Thank you for enduring my stuttering. But we'll see you next time. Hope this helps you. Thank you. Take care.